Man goes into hiding after malicious damage to property. Big Smith News Watch. A family dispute has escalated into a situation involving property damage, prompting Shivin Budhu of 63 Middle Road, La Penitence, to go into hiding from police. The incident occurred on the night of February 19, 2025, when Budhu reportedly became enraged and left his home. Witnesses say he crossed the road to an auto-electrical workshop, where he began dismantling a bridge and maliciously damaging a customer's car parked at the workshop. Since the incident, Budhu has not returned home and is actively evading police efforts to locate him. Police have been attempting to reach Budhu by calling his mobile phone and have visited his residence, where they informed his father that he should report to the Ruimveldt police station upon his return. Sources indicate that Budhu is frightened of the potential legal consequences, as he has never been incarcerated before. He is currently employed at a branding company based in Georgetown, and the police plan to continue their search for him. Man beats 15-year-old girl with cutlass following altercation. Kaider News. Kendrick Cozier, a 54-year-old technician from West Ruimveldt, has been remanded to prison after appearing in the Georgetown Magistrates Court on a charge of unlawful wounding. The incident occurred on January 31, 2025, involving a 15-year-old girl. Cozier pleaded not guilty to the charge when it was read to him by Senior Magistrate Fabio Azor. The prosecution opposed bail, citing the seriousness of the offense. They explained that the altercation began when the minor had an argument with Cozier's daughter. Following the dispute, Cozier armed himself with a cutlass and allegedly attacked the girl. The minor's mother informed the court that video footage exists showing Cozier inflicting injuries on her daughter, which they are willing to present as evidence. After viewing the footage, Magistrate Azor denied bail to Cozier and remanded him to prison. He is scheduled to return to court on February 26, 2025. Venezuela rejects claims of arrests in GDF soldiers' shooting incident. Credible sources. The Venezuelan government has dismissed allegations that it has arrested suspects connected to the recent shooting of 6 Guyana Defense Force, GDF, soldiers in the Cuyuni River. In an official statement, Venezuela accused the Guyanese government of spreading disinformation and engaging in warmongering propaganda to justify its increasing military presence in the Essequibo region. Venezuela's statement asserted, "We denounce that the Guyanese government, in its eagerness to cover up its illegal actions in the disputed territory, is resorting to disinformation and warmongering propaganda." The statement also criticized the support Guyana receives from the United States Southern Command, labeling it a threat to regional peace. This response follows reports from senior government sources in Guyana claiming that at least 3 suspects involved in the attack on the GDF soldiers had been arrested and were in the custody of the Venezuelan military. However, Venezuela's statement made no mention of these arrests, instead calling for Guyana's foreign minister to cease his aggression and lies, and urging adherence to the Geneva Agreement of 1966. Venezuela demands that the foreign minister of Guyana cease his aggression and lies and, instead of fomenting confrontation, comply with his obligation under the Geneva Agreement of 1966, which establishes direct negotiation between the parties as the only way to resolve the territorial dispute, the statement read. Reiterating its claim over the Essequibo region, Venezuela expressed its commitment to restoring what it considers its sovereign rights, stating it will act in strict compliance with international law and historical truth. The conflicting accounts come amid rising tensions between the two nations. As of now, it remains unclear if any suspects are indeed in Venezuelan custody, with Guyanese authorities yet to respond officially to Venezuela's latest assertion. Jagdeo dismisses corruption report as damp squib. Newsroom. Vice President Dr. Barrett Jagdeo has rejected the findings of Transparency International's TI 2024 Corruption Perception Index, labeling the report a damp squib. He accused local non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and individuals opposing the People's Progressive Party Civic, PPP/C, of deliberately downplaying the improvements made under the current administration. In his response, Jagdeo pointed to a broader regional trend, noting that several countries, including the United States, have seen significant declines in their corruption scores. For example, the U.S. experienced an 11-point drop, while Venezuela and Canada each fell by 8 points. Jagdeo questioned the accuracy and fairness of global assessments of corruption, particularly when countries viewed as benchmarks for good governance are also experiencing declines. He expressed skepticism about the validity of comparing Guyana's progress with that of other democracies, suggesting that local critics prioritize negative perceptions over acknowledging the government's improvements. Reflecting on historical scores, Jagdeo noted that Guyana's standing improved in 2019 under the former APNU plus AFC government. However, he alleged that local reports from that time were manipulated to present an inflated positive picture. "Anything they say about us now will pale in comparison to what they did," he asserted, criticizing the lack of parliamentary oversight and excessive spending during the previous government's tenure. Jagdeo further questioned the integrity of reports produced by local groups, claiming that they have become hostile toward the current PPP government and continue to misrepresent the country's progress. Mother of twin girls who perished in Maia fire files $900 million lawsuit against the state. News source Guyana. Valerie Carter, the mother of twin girls Martha and Michelle Dandrade, who tragically died in the Maia secondary school dorm fire, has filed a $900 million lawsuit against the state. This development comes after a court set aside a previous agreement reached with the government for a $5 million settlement. Carter alleged that the agreement was signed under undue pressure and influence from state officials. The devastating fire claimed the lives of the twin girls along with 18 other children, causing immense grief within their family, community, and the wider country. The lawsuit, filed through attorney-at-law UC Anderson, claims that the deaths were due to negligence on the part of the state. In her court filing, Carter expressed that the tragedy has left a lasting impact on their lives. She criticized several government ministries and agencies, including the Ministries of Education and Home Affairs, the Guyana Fire Service, and the Ministry of Health, for failing to adequately prepare the Maia school dorm for emergencies. Specifically, she stated that these agencies did not equip the dorm with necessary skills, experience, or expertise to manage fire emergencies. Carter further claimed that the dorm was not fitted with illuminating lights to guide occupants to escape routes during emergencies and that emergency exits were not kept clear and operational. She also pointed out that recommendations made by the Guyana Fire Service in 2022 to remove grills from exits and windows were ignored. The government had initially offered $5 million for each child who perished in the fire, but after signing the agreement, Carter later sought to challenge it in court. Lang Avenue women dragged before court for fighting. Kaider News. 3 women from Lang Avenue, West Ruimveldt, appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Wednesday facing charges of assault and causing actual bodily harm. Colleen Neblett was charged with assaulting Jewel B. Ram, resulting in actual bodily harm on January 29, 2025. Wendy Charles, also from Lang Avenue, faced a similar charge for assaulting B. Ram on January 27, 2025. B. Ram was charged with multiple offenses, including assaulting Charles and another neighbor, Christinan Neblett, who was absent from the proceedings. All 3 women pleaded not guilty to the charges read by Senior Magistrate Fabio Azor. The court noted that the women are neighbors, and Magistrate Azor offered them a chance to resolve the matter amicably, which they were unable to do. As a result, they were each placed on bail, with B. Ram facing 3 charges, $35,000 total bail, $25,000 for the assault causing bodily harm and $10,000 for each of the other 2 assault charges. Both Charles and Neblett were placed on $25,000 bail for their respective charges. The women are scheduled to return to court on February 26, 2025, for the submission of statements and to set a date for trial. Restoration of Le Repentir Cemetery, part of larger city enhancement project, Jagdeo. Newsroom. Vice President Dr. Barrett Jagdeo has criticized the opposition's call for the restoration of Georgetown's Le Repentir Cemetery, branding it as politically opportunistic. This statement follows opposition MP Volda Lawrence's recent motion in Parliament addressing the cemetery's deteriorating condition. Jagdeo asserted that the government has long recognized the issues with the cemetery and is actively working on improvements as part of a broader city enhancement initiative. "I don't know when the cemetery became such a big political issue," he remarked, emphasizing that the opposition's focus on the cemetery is a recent development, despite ongoing government efforts over the years. The vice president noted that the cemetery's condition is just one aspect of a comprehensive plan to enhance Georgetown's infrastructure. He mentioned that residents have frequently inquired about the state of the cemetery during community visits, prompting the government to prioritize it in their plans. In alignment with previous commitments, Jagdeo revealed that $20 million has been allocated for each Neighborhood Democratic Council (NDC) to address cemetery concerns nationwide. He stated, "We promised to fix the roads first, and that's what we've been doing." Jagdeo also highlighted that the Ministry of Public Works has already made progress in addressing the cemetery's issues, including awarding small contracts for road repairs. Despite the opposition's criticisms, he remains confident in the government's commitment to improving the cemetery as part of its broader urban development strategy. U.S. and Guyanese companies team up to strengthen local electrical grid. News source Guyana. Guyana Electric has partnered with the U.S.-based company GE Vernova to enhance the country's electrical grid. The announcement was made by GE Vernova representative Douglas Hasbun, alongside co-owners of Guyana Electric, Kian Howard and Michelle Howard, during the Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo at the Guyana Marriott. Hasbun expressed enthusiasm about the collaboration, noting that GE Vernova has been seeking a local partner since 2017 to help build sustainable electric power systems. The partnership aims to provide training for engineers and advance power transmission solutions. One of the most important aspects of this joint venture was to establish a long-term relationship and build advanced power transmission solutions for the Guyana electric grid, Hasbun explained. He acknowledged the challenges facing the national grid and emphasized that GE Vernova is prepared to offer viable solutions similar to those implemented in the U.S. and across Latin America and the Caribbean. In addition to working with Guyana Electric, GE Vernova intends to establish partnerships with technical institutions in Guyana to further support local capacity building. Kian Howard of Guyana Electric expressed excitement about the partnership, highlighting the importance of providing critical training to Guyanese engineers while strengthening the electric grid. "If we cannot do it alone, let's reach out to people that can help us to do it, financially, physically, and this is what we are doing to make it happen," Howard stated. Through this joint venture, the companies aim to extend their services to the Guyana Power and Light, GPL, focusing on fortifying the electrical grid to meet the growing demands of the country. Government not exploring cryptocurrency ideas, VP Jagdeo. February 20, 2025. The government of Guyana has confirmed that it is not currently considering regulations to facilitate cryptocurrency transactions. Vice President Dr. Barrett Jagdeo made this clear during a question-and-answer segment at the Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo, stating, "The answer is no. Not at this time. We have been exploring it. We have been studying this." Dr. Jagdeo emphasized that the government's primary focus is on implementing modern solutions across various agencies, which they believe could have a significant impact. "Right now, we are doing several projects. We are digitizing the government. If you come into the airport now, you will see. We are hoping our airport, within the next few months, will go paperless," he noted. He also mentioned the installation of facial recognition cameras across the country to enhance security. While the vice president indicated that cryptocurrency is not on the immediate agenda, he did not completely dismiss the idea. He acknowledged that the central bank has conducted some preliminary work on cryptocurrency, but stressed that further steps will not be taken until a comprehensive overhaul of the financial system is completed. "We do not think we are ready at this stage to go any further until we have done a major financial overhaul," he said. Dr. Jagdeo explained that modernizing and transforming the financial sector is essential for promoting growth and stability in other sectors. "We think that the financial sector can become a humbug, can slow down the massive growth that we are seeing in the real sector if it does not expand in complexity and instruments," he added. He concluded by noting, "Once we get to that level of complexity, then I think we can layer it on with things like crypto, provided the appropriate safeguards could be found and instituted." The Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo is being held at the Guyana Marriott in Kingston from February 18 to 21, 2025, under the theme, Connecting the Dots, Integrating the Future. Don't put sexually abused children on Facebook Live. Ministry condemns re-traumatization of victims. Qaeda News. The Ministry of Human Services and Social Security has condemned the alarming rise in the re-traumatization of child victims of sexual violence and assault. This statement follows a recent incident where a 12-year-old rape victim appeared on a Facebook Live program with social activist Simon Brooms. Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Honorable Dr. Vindhya Prasad, expressed deep concern over the exploitation of vulnerable children on social media. The accused rapist, Andrew Bola of Stanleytown, Burbis, was remanded to prison after being charged with rape at the Reliance Magistrates Court. The ministry stated that while the intention behind such social media posts may be to raise awareness, they often cause further emotional distress to the children involved. Re-traumatizing a child is not right, irrespective of who you are, Minister Prasad emphasized, labeling the practice as despicable and reprehensible. The ministry highlighted the negative impact of re-traumatization on children's emotional and mental health and outlined steps being taken to protect them. This includes implementing robust reporting mechanisms to ensure children receive necessary support and care. The Child Care and Protection Agency, CPA, will intervene immediately upon notification of such cases, employing private forensic interviews conducted by trained professionals to minimize re-traumatization risks. The ministry reiterated that a child's traumatic experience should not be treated as a commodity for social media engagement. These vulnerable individuals deserve our utmost protection and compassion, not further victimization, the statement read. To report cases of child abuse or neglect, the ministry encourages the use of the following avenues. 914 Hotline, immediate access to trained professionals for support and guidance. Direct police report, encouragement to report directly to law enforcement. Child Care and Protection Agency, CPA reports can be made directly to the CPA at hotline 2270979. The ministry remains committed to protecting children and preventing their re-traumatization, urging the public to prioritize the well-being of children above all else. GRA clarifies social media claim by T. Mohammed on taxes paid. The Guyana Revenue Authority, GRA, has addressed a recent social media post by T. Mohammed, which claims that over $98.6 million in taxes was paid on 3 vehicles, a pair of Land Cruisers and a Lamborghini, and further asserts that billions have been contributed to the nation's economic development through taxes. In its response, the GRA emphasized its commitment to taxpayer confidentiality and clarified that it will only address information available in the public domain. Specifically regarding the mentioned vehicles, the GRA explained that Guyana operates on a voluntary tax compliance system. Upon import, importers submit a declaration with values they claim, and taxes are self-assessed based on these declarations. The GRA noted that these high-end vehicles were released into the importer's custody, with post-clearance and valuation steps typically undertaken by the relevant departments. These departments follow principles established by the WTO/WCO, tax legislation, and anti-money laundering regulations to verify the true acquisition value of the imports and assess the necessary collectible tax. In this case, the GRA determined that the values declared for the imports were significantly understated. Particularly concerning the Lamborghini, it was found that taxes in excess of $300 million were underpaid and are collectible from the importer. The GRA views such social media claims as potentially undermining the state's lawful revenue collection. The GRA reiterated its responsibility to collect taxes fairly and equitably, urging citizens to pay their true and correct taxes in accordance with their income and lifestyle. The authority stated that merely asserting taxes paid does not satisfy the obligation of paying the rightful amount owed to the state. Furthermore, the GRA reminded the public that misrepresenting declared particulars or misstating facts to evade full tax payment could lead to prosecution. Individuals found guilty of defrauding the Revenue Authority may face fines and/or imprisonment under applicable laws. The GRA urges taxpayers to refrain from such activities and encourages the public to report any illicit behavior confidentially by contacting the GRA at telephone number 2276060. Whistleblowers will be rewarded for any information provided, with strict confidentiality ensured according to the law. Opposition leader Aubrey Norton honors LFS Burnham at 102nd birthday remembrance. At the LFS Burnham Remembrance Service and wreath-laying ceremony marking the late president's 102nd birth anniversary, opposition leader Aubrey Norton declared, "No one has done as much as LFS Burnham has done for Guyana." He described Burnham as a transformative leader who laid the foundation for the nation across various sectors, including education, infrastructure, national security, and self-reliance. Speaking to party members, supporters, and dignitaries, Norton emphasized that Burnham's legacy has been maligned despite his significant contribution to the country. He urged the audience to take action to set the record straight for young Guyanese to understand Burnham's pivotal role in shaping the nation. Norton highlighted Burnham's leadership during a turbulent era marked by ethnic conflict, Cold War geopolitics, and territorial threats from Venezuela and Suriname. He credited Burnham for strengthening national defense, saying, "He trained an army to protect us, and developed a professional police force." Norton also praised Burnham's diplomatic efforts in establishing a foreign service to safeguard Guyana's sovereignty. According to Norton, Burnham's vision extended beyond security to encompass national unity. He noted Burnham's promotion of indigenous culture and access to land, including the significant decision to rename the airport Timeri in honor of indigenous peoples, an act he believes should have never been undone by the current government. In discussing economic policies, Norton credited Burnham with achieving food security and eliminating the country's reliance on imported vegetables, laying the groundwork for agricultural self-sufficiency. "Burnham taught us to rely on ourselves, to be proud of ourselves, and to be dignified," he stated. Norton also highlighted Burnham's impact on education, recalling his expansion of access to schooling by introducing free education from nursery to university. He quoted Burnham's belief that the question was never whether they could afford free education, but rather, could we afford ignorance? Norton emphasized Burnham's abolition of the all-age school system and the establishment of proper schools to accommodate all children. The opposition leader pointed out Burnham's contributions to infrastructure, noting his role in constructing major highways, hinterland roads, and sea defenses that continue to protect Guyana today. Apart from Linden, Georgetown, and a small part of West Demerara, Guyana had no tarred roads, he said. Burnham put in place a network of roads that remain strong today. In closing, Norton urged all Guyanese to honor Burnham's legacy and carry forward his vision. "We must never be afraid or ashamed to speak about Forbes Burnham," he asserted. "People may malign him, but no one has done as much as he has for Guyana." Afro-Guyanese seen only as vote bank by WPA, PNC, Jagdeo. Newsroom. Vice President Dr. Barrett Jagdeo has accused the Working People's Alliance, WPA, and the People's National Congress Reform, PNC/R, of viewing Afro-Guyanese merely as a vote bank instead of recognizing them as individuals with their own interests and aspirations. At a press conference, Dr. Jagdeo responded strongly to recent controversial remarks made by WPA member David Hines, which he condemned as disgusting. Hines had referred to Afro-Guyanese who support the governing People's Progressive Party/Civic, PPP/C, using derogatory terms such as house slaves and lick bottoms. Dr. Jagdeo, echoing sentiments from President Irfan Ali and Minister Gail Teixeira, expressed dismay that Hines' leader, Aubrey Norton, had not condemned these inflammatory comments. He criticized the notion that Afro-Guyanese are seen as unthinking and easily manipulated, stating, "The WPA and the PNC treat Afro-Guyanese as though they are unthinking, easily manipulated individuals." The vice president highlighted the positive developments among Afro-Guyanese, noting an increase in Afro-Guyanese-owned small businesses securing contracts. He emphasized that these individuals are not selling out, but are making informed decisions based on a pursuit of opportunities rather than blind loyalty to any party. Dr. Jagdeo also scrutinized Hines and the WPA's past, accusing them of betraying their leader, Dr. Walter Rodney, who was murdered under the PNC government in June 1980. He questioned Hines' silence during the previous administration's actions that negatively impacted the Afro-Guyanese community, such as the removal of children's grants. "David Hines had a cushy job during the last government," Jagdeo remarked, adding, "But did he once speak up for the Afro-Guyanese community?" He pointed out that between 2015 and 2020, when Hines and other WPA leaders were in power, they failed to advocate for the interests of Afro-Guyanese. Dr. Jagdeo criticized the WPA and PNC for lacking vision and concern for the future of young Afro-Guyanese. "Why would anyone want to align themselves with a party that has done nothing for them?" he asked, emphasizing that individuals are making smart choices based on opportunities rather than racism or oppression. "People have choices. They are not sellouts. they are simply making smart choices. Government engaging German company to operate gas-to-energy power plant, Brassington. The government of Guyana has shortlisted Siemens Energy, a German company, to potentially operate and manage the power plant component of the Transformative Gas-to-Energy (GTE) project in Wales, Region 3. This information was shared by GTE project lead Winston Brassington during the Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo. Brassington explained that the Office of the Prime Minister invited requests for proposals, RFPs, in 2024, receiving interest from 3 international companies: Siemens Energy, Germany, CH4 Systems, Puerto Rico, and Ethos Energy, Texas, USA. He noted that Siemens Energy submitted the most technically compliant proposal, and negotiations for the contract are currently underway. Now the contract is being negotiated, Brassington stated, highlighting the government's commitment to contracting world-class firms for this significant project. He anticipates finalizing the agreement with Siemens within the next few months. In addition to Siemens, the government is also seeking subcontractors for the natural gas liquid, NGL, operations, with both parties expected to be in place by mid-year to facilitate a smooth transition from construction to operations. Brassington emphasized that Guyana is laying the groundwork to become a major energy supplier in the Caribbean and Latin America, even as plans for a second GTE project are underway. The first phase of the project aims to stabilize electricity costs and generate export revenue through natural gas liquids. The second phase will focus on attracting private sector investment. The initial phase includes constructing a pipeline, power plant, natural gas liquids facility, and upgrades to the power distribution network. Once operational, the GTE project is expected to reduce energy costs by 50%, addressing the long-standing issue of high electricity prices in Guyana. As power demand has surged in recent years, the GTE project will enhance generating capacity and alleviate issues related to power outages. The government also plans to sell cooking gas, fertilizer, and other natural gas byproducts to neighboring countries, maximizing the benefits of this newfound resource. The US-based company CH4 Lineseca is responsible for building the integrated facility in Wales, with an investment of $759 million, while Culpa-True Projects International Limited is tasked with establishing the necessary transmission lines and substations. ExxonMobil Guyana has completed a pipeline to transport natural gas from the offshore Stabroek Blocks Liza oil field to the integrated facility in Wales. Earlier this year, Guyana secured a $527 million loan from the United States Export-Import (EXIM) Bank to further support the GTE project's development. President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali stated that this investment would result in savings exceeding $250 million, positively affecting disposable income in the country.